Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I hope you're well. I need my Daria picture. All right. So I was watching a video by Douglas MacArthur, the Colonel.
It's Justin from Plato's Closet. I am mic'd up today. It looks like I'm
All right, so
that's not my problem.
At your fingertips. As a publicly traded leader, Bitdeer's global reach.
Playing in what he's
okay, so watching he's got the take on the war, the Ukrainians. Well, we already know the Ukrainians are getting killed. 75-year-old guys and 14-year-old boys are in the war. So Red Deer are getting killed. Then he starts talking about what he's afraid of, and he brings up the financial crisis. Now, this is a Bitcoin channel called Natalie Brunel. And so she's for Bitcoin. And McGregor was a colonel. What does he know? He doesn't know anything about finance. He listens to Alligator, he says. So he says Alligator likes gold, and the Bitcoin question comes up. So we're going to listen to this. And then we're going to explain what's wrong with it. And the problem is Bitcoin's not money, which we will get into. We know what money is, and we know what money is not. And I've done that. I've done that many times, but happy to do it again. And let me get to my total page that has a little bit of examples. So there's a few different things here. But the real problem with Bitcoin is it's not money. Like we've said, okay, here it is. So I've got two different ones. So first we're going to define money. Money is a medium of exchange. It's what everybody wants. Does everybody want Bitcoin? No. Does everybody want the US dollar? Not anymore. Many aren't. What's a market? Well, we know what a market is. It's something that there's got to be a supply and demand for. If you sell something, somebody buys it, it's a market. Mahomes cards, Brady cards, Mantle cards, Coca-Cola, pizza, Canadian Club. If there's a buyer, then it's a market. So then, is there a buyer for Bitcoin? Some buyers. There's some market for it. Hey, Gregor John. We're just talking about Bitcoin today and gold. And we'll get into whatever sports we can get into. Pretty open. I'm always pretty open, but there's a few things I want to cover. So Again, is there a market for Bitcoin? We don't know. The problem is the value, right? What is it really worth? It's not fungible. You can't hold it in your hands. The definition of fungible, everything is the same. And is it divisible for small exchanges? I don't, it's worth 50,000. What does that mean? If the grocery store is selling milk and we're now pricing it in Bitcoin, it's what, 1/64th or 1/100th, or, you know, is it going to be easy to buy milk and eggs with Bitcoin at Kroger's? Is it going to be Bitcoin cards? The problem with Bitcoin is people who buy it don't sell it. So you have Bitcoin, and there's 21 million of them, supposedly, which we have no idea. We don't even know if they're real because it's all digital. You can't hold it. You can't hold it in your hand. And we've seen that Friedman kid and some other people and the queen and the crypto queen basically make it up, and it wasn't even real. And so therefore, I don't know how strong it is as money. That's why it's very, very, are you sure you want this as money? But it can't be money. It doesn't qualify. The value of money is what money can purchase. The market talks in prices. So Bitcoin, what can it purchase? That's a big problem because there's a lot of things it can't purchase. Banks aren't set up. So I want to buy a car and the money's gone. Are they going to take Bitcoin? Well, they don't take it now because we don't know the value of it. So it's not a solid value. Therefore, we really don't know what it's worth. So they really don't want to take it, which automatically eliminates it from being money. So then we have qualities of the medium of exchange. Medium of exchange is what everybody wants, but we know everybody doesn't want Bitcoin. It's kind of out there because the fiat money is going to zero, but this is why I go to gold. Everybody wants gold. Gold is highly acceptable. Bitcoin isn't. So if we look at the 6 functions of the qualities of the medium of exchange. So this is the medium of exchange now, right? And then we get to, here's the medium of exchange of where we're headed. So if you want to have a medium of exchange, these are the 6 properties. Must be portable. A little bit does a lot of work. Is it portable? What if the internet goes down? Is it, okay, you have, I guess it's a wallet with some 25-digit code that if you forget, you can't get into your wallet, which is scary enough. I don't need my bank account number. I can go to the bank with a debit card or with my driver's license, and they look me up and they know what my account is. That's the one good thing about a bank. Bitcoin, you don't know it, you're screwed. Okay. The second thing is it's got to be scarce, which gives it a high value. Well, this is not scarce. Neither of these are scarce, right? So if these aren't really scarce, they've made trillions and trillions of these, plus there's trillions and trillions out of the country, right? So it's an overabundance and they've lost value, and that's exactly what's happened. Is there an overabundance of Bitcoin? Well, first of all, is it even portable? A little bit does a lot of work, meaning I can put it in my pocket. So let's say it is on my computer. Well, it's going to be a pain in the ass to use. I'll have to enter my code. Is there a debit card for it? How will I pay for stuff at Kroger's with Bitcoin? With any digital dollar. Now with the debit card, I slide it through the reader. You don't have a card with Bitcoin. You'll need a way of entering your code. Okay. and they got to receive it. But how do they give you change? Or is there no change? It's 0.25 Bitcoin you owe me for groceries. Okay, and then they accept it. So there's no change, I guess. You go to a restaurant, it's $100 meal, so you're going to pay X amount in Bitcoin. I don't know. Maybe they need cards. 3, divisible for small exchanges. Gold comes in different ounces. So does silver. Is Bitcoin divisible for small exchanges? Well, I guess you could break it down, but what's the value of it? Bitcoin's 50,000 today, goes to 30,000 tomorrow. What's the value? You're going to get screwed if you're selling a car or a house. Okay, I'll take 10 Bitcoins for my house, $50,000, that's 500,000. And then the price goes down. See, it's too erratic. That's the big problem with it. So it's not really money. Is it fungible? Everything is the same. Gold's gold. So every ounce of gold's an ounce of gold. Silver, every ounce of silver is an ounce of silver. It's all the same. These are my plague golds and silvers. So is that really, is it all the same? So Bitcoin's a Bitcoin, but there really is no Bitcoin. It's a digital thing. I'm not sure. Don't worry, I'm getting to the point with Douglas McGregor. Is it replaceable? No. If they made 21 million, what happens if all 21 million are sold? But we need more. What do? We make more Bitcoin. Now we double it. Now it's 42 million. Well, now it ain't scarce. And what's the value? So it's not replaceable. Acceptance, it's not accepted because we don't know what the value is. So I don't know, you can go to a restaurant or a grocery store or get a car or a house and pay with Bitcoin. You could with gold, you can't with Bitcoin. Is it durable? I don't know. It's a computer, it's, what is it, a spreadsheet? Is it something? They try to tell you it's blockchain, which doesn't mean anything. Value equals most marketable commodity. Gold has all the qualities, but Bitcoin doesn't. It isn't a medium of exchange, which means it's not money. Money must be the most marketable security. The value depends on judgment. How do we value Bitcoin? And then everybody wants it because they want it to go up, which means nobody's spending it. So you got 21 million, and now 21 million have been bought. How does the price go up? There's nothing. I can't. It's not a market, right? How do I buy it? I can't. They're all gone. So it's not like I can bid it up. Well, I'll give you 51,000 for it, or 52 if I even have that. And the third part, it's priced in dollars. Gold doesn't need to be priced in dollars. Bitcoin, can Bitcoin be priced in Bitcoin? I don't see how in the world it can be, because it's not a money at all. It's really not money. So money functions, medium of exchange, work for money to buy food, store of purchasing power, spent over time, like in an IRA, unit of account, measurement of account, common denominator, made or lost money. So if money goes out, how do you value Bitcoin? How is it a medium of exchange? Are you going to pay me? So I make 100,000 at my job. You're going to pay me Bitcoin, or I'm getting Social Security. You're going to pay me Bitcoin, but there's only 21 million of it. And if people, once it reaches it, how do you get my Social Security? how do I get it for the grocery store? How does the I guess there's no change. You just pay as much as you owe, right? You owe me 1/30th of a Bitcoin. But how much is it worth? We don't know. It's not set. It's not real money. It's a penny stock, basically. So why do I bring this up? All right, let's listen to Douglas McGregor, who's the colonel who tells you what's going on in the war. So you like him because you think he's honest. You think he's saying Russia's winning, so you trust him. But we're going to shatter that trust right now.
Says about brics and what he says about the Russians and others, we're headed into the ravine.
Well, I really don't think it's too.
And background and station in this country would say such a stupid thing leads me to believe that he was lying because he's not a dumb man. And I think we have a lot of that going on in Washington. A lot of it's going on in Wall Street. And I think eventually it's going to fall apart. So to answer your question, economically, I think we are a runaway locomotive on a very wobbly track headed down the side of a mountain. And at the bottom of the mountain is a ravine. And can we put the brakes on? Or is it too late? I'm beginning to think it's probably too late. So the question is, when we get down there, do we just go right over the cliff into the ravine? Or do we stop magically or miraculously? I think if you read Alistair MacLean and what he says about brics and what he says about the Russians and others, we're headed into the ravine.
Well, I really don't think it's too late. I'm looking at this positively, and I'm glad you brought up Bitcoin, because for the first time we have this neutral global asset and a network impervious to attack. And I'm curious your thoughts on why more political leaders around the world, but especially here in the United States, aren't getting it and aren't talking about it. Is it just because they can't control it?
It's because you are governed by a gerontocracy. If you look at people in my generation, that's ridiculous. Bitcoin is nonsense. Forget it. Nobody bothers to look at it. Nobody bothers to try and understand it. Alistair McLeod's in the same group. I mean, he says gold, 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 which is fine, but he just ignores Bitcoin for all the same reason. Well, that's just like fiat currency. No, it isn't. We know that's not true. We know there's a limited amount of it, just as you have a limited amount of gold. We know that you can't get access to it and steal it. We know that it holds value. Eventually, I think we in the West will have to go to Bitcoin because we can't go to the gold-backed solution. If we try to do that, we'll simply fail. I don't think we have enough gold to do it. So what do? If your fiat currency is no longer worth anything, and I think we're on that road, what do? Bitcoin. Now, if it weren't valuable, look, Natalie, if it weren't valuable and we couldn't go to it, why would the banks want to issue their own digital currency?
Okay, first of all, this is where I start losing his credibility. It is not, there is no value to it. To answer the girl's question, the banks, why do you think they don't go to gold now? Because they don't want to be controlled. They want to, am I going to freeze every time I do a video? They want the governments and the banks want to control the money and be able to print it. They don't want to be controlled. Now, 21 million Bitcoin, is that limited? I got a 50 count. I would say that's limited. 21 million, you think's limited? I don't think it's limited. But even so, okay, let's say it is. What's the value? Is it an asset? What is it? You don't hold it. So, pardon me while I eat my avocado. So this is the problem is They're trying to sell it as money, but it's the first money you can't hold in your hand, right? I can hold this in my hand. I can hold this in my, I can hold it. I can have a debit or credit card, but I know it's coming back to this. I don't know what the hell Bitcoin is. It's a digital, so I really don't have it. I can't hold it. I don't really know what the value is. It's not, there really is no value for it. It's valued in dollars. So what happens when the dollars go out? So it's not that Alistair McLeod says gold, 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 and doesn't like Bitcoin because he's old. It's not like I don't like Bitcoin because I'm older. As an economist who understands what money is, it isn't money. It's a Ponzi scheme because we don't know the value and we don't know the 21 million. And once the 21 million is bought, how do I buy some? At what price is it worth? Is it really worth that? That's why we need a auction, a supply demand of it to value it. But it seems like it goes all over the place. So to say what? Why are the banks going to it? The banks aren't going to go to it. Believe me, the banks aren't going to lose control of printing money. That isn't going away. All right.
Transfer your IRA or your old 401k to Robinhood.
I hate when I pause it, I get a commercial.
Banks want to issue their own digital currency. But remember, everybody my age, if you're over 50, the attitude is forget it, it's nonsense.
It's a Ponzi scheme.
And that's true for a lot of different things.
Do you also think that there are strategic national security implications of adopting Bitcoin? I mean, again, being this network that cannot be hacked, and in a future of potentially cyber warfare, shouldn't the United States embrace a network that is so powerful? And we could lead. I mean, we lead in Bitcoin mining right now, but it seems like we're sometimes attacking what could help strengthen us.
Well, you have to keep in mind the principal purpose right now of government in the West and governments in general, but particularly today ours. It's control. Why would you adopt something that you do not control? Now, what did we do before we had a Federal Reserve?
We
resisted the national bank for years. We fought against it. We did have crises of various types and kinds. The government did not intervene in those crises. Everyone did not starve to death. Some people went broke, others got rich, and we continued to develop and grow as a nation and as an economy. The first time the government intervened in a crisis was 1929. And up until that point, where there had been no outside intervention. But the intervention came as a result of the Federal Reserve.
1914
Intervention means control. Control means that you are hostage to the government. More precisely, the international finance system, which is a banking cartel. Everything is mortgaged to that. Nobody wants that to stop who has money. You have to understand that. So control's the issue, but they're going to lose control. This is the point that we keep talking about. When you listen to, even Rubini will say this, everybody eventually comes around and say, well, it's about control. And you hear people say, don't fight the Fed. The Fed's in control. Well, I don't think the Fed's quite in the same position of control that it once was, and I think it's going to lose control. And then the effort will be to get it back. But what if you can't get it back? Then you have to go to an alternative, and that is Bitcoin, in my judgment. So it's going to happen, I think, eventually.
Well, control is very top down, and that's a lot of people's concern right now, right? We've had so much concentration of power, and we seem to be moving further toward authoritarianism on the left or the right. But Bitcoin presents this alternative that has really been grassroots. It's very bottom up. Do you really think that can win against the powers at the top who hold all the money and it seems like all the cards?
That's a good question, and I don't have an easy answer. It depends on circumstances and what people know and what they're willing to do. That is the ultimate PhD dissertation question that you've just raised, and I don't have an easy answer. I think they'll lose control, and I think it'll be a default issue. Lots of people with money and lots of people without much money are all going to turn to Bitcoin because that will be the only thing that's left that stores value. Now, that doesn't mean gold will become worthless by any stretch of the imagination. Gold will always be with us. So will silver, platinum, and other
Not
rare
platinum.
minerals and metals and so forth.
No, only money.
But it's easier to do business in Bitcoin than it is to do business in gold. I think we know that.
Oh, we know that. Now, this guy's a colonel. He ain't he's not me. He's not an economist. He's not our world. And for him to say that, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's on a Bitcoin channel, so he's kissing ass to Bitcoin. So I'm losing a mile of respect for this man right now because what he's saying is it'll go to Bitcoin. It isn't even money. That's why I started the dissertation or my thesis or whatever you want to call it with it's not money. It's easier to go to Bitcoin than gold. Guy's out of his mind. What do you mean it's easier? The Romans had gold. Pretty easy for them till they took all the gold out of their coins. I'm sure they didn't have Bitcoin in 2 AD or whatever. This is the problem. He's making comments to make a comment without really understanding what he's saying. Why does the alligator and Egon say gold? And it's not hard to make a gold dollar. Put a little gold stripe here and call it gold. This is gold back. It ain't hard to do. Does the U.S. need its own currency is the question. No, they don't. Look at Argentina. They're not using their own currency. They're going to use the U.S. dollar. So imagine if we use the BRICS currency as our medium of exchange. Very easily. They got plenty of gold to make it gold back. Now the US dollar's all over the place, right? You go to Switzerland, you're supposed to buy dollars to buy euros with your Swiss francs. How is that any different? So we'll make money and then we'll need to back it with BRICS gold-backed currency. And with all the gold they have, it wouldn't be a problem. So I'm beginning to lose respect for this guy because now he's coming down my path, and I know he's full of shit. Okay? There's no difference between him and Peter Schiff right now in my book, judging by what he just said. Well, we can't go to gold and silver. Well, idiot, they don't give you coins. They give you paper, and as long as the banks will hold gold, his concern is there's no gold in Fort Knox. We don't have any gold, so how can we go to a gold standard? We can't because we have no gold, but we can use BRICS' gold just as easily. They'll want to deal with it, so that's what will happen. Or we have a new fiat currency, but you got to back it by gold. You can't back it by Bitcoin. How are you going to deal in Bitcoin? You are going to need this, which is okay. Instead of this is backed by nothing. It's backed by the government, the corrupt government. So you would have to have Bitcoin dollars, right? This is backed by the 21 million Bitcoin dollars. But wait, they're all locked in wallets, and nobody wants to sell them because everybody thinks they're going to be worth $1 million. So nobody sells the Bitcoin; they just buy them. And we're dealing with Russian mafia, by the way. Bitcoin is worldwide, so why can't gold be worldwide? The difference is I want to hold my gold, and I know what the value of the gold is. That's easy to see. I'm not crazy about, I don't know what Bitcoin is or the value of it, and it's not acceptable. Gold's acceptable. If I walked into, if Toyota gets bad enough and I walk into the Toyota dealership and they're selling the Camry for $35,000, and our gold price hits $35,000 on its way to 50. You telling me he's not going to take the gold? He knows that value. Is he going to take Bitcoin? He has no idea. Bitcoin jumps around. What if Bitcoin went to 10,000? Would this clown now be saying Bitcoin? Yeah, at 50,000 he's saying it, but how do you get a value? That's not a value for money. I mean, money is $5. This is a $5. This is what it is. This is a $1. This is what it is. You'd have to put a value on the Bitcoin. Gold, it's a quarter ounce, it's a tenth of an ounce, it's a half an ounce, it's an ounce. What's it worth? Right now, 2,050. Oh, okay. Now I know what the value of the gold is, and I got it sliced into, that's why I buy the tenth of an ounce. So divide it by 10. If it's 2,000, this is worth 200. Okay, so if I'm at the store and I want to buy $200 worth of groceries, how are you going to price things? So as I've explained the market to you many times, but I don't mind. So I have Canadian Club. We'll use my Canadian Club as an example. And what's it cost me to make? Because we got to understand the market. What can I sell this for in the market based on then what does it cost me to make determines if I can sell it in the market. Because if it costs more than I can make, I'm in trouble. What's the cost of this? In Bitcoin. At what value? Don't know. How do I come up with the cost? So then I know it costs, because if a Bitcoin's 50,000, a tenth of a Bitcoin is 5,000. Well, how do I come up with the value? What is the cost of this? And then what do we put it on the shelves to sell it for? How do I run my market? I know $1's $1, 5's $5, 10's $10, a 20's a 20, a 50's a 50. I know what the dollar is, and but they see the difference is they changed the dollar by adding the price. So now Coke's $2.90 a 2 liter. Instead of changing the dollar, it's still that they raise prices. So these idiots are running around with inflation going, well, it's 3%. It's just a stupid thing. You don't know what the value of the dollar is. It's worth not even 1% of what it was. So $100 is worth $1 today, but you still can get Coke for $2 or $3 for a 2 liter. So they never really changed the dollar. They changed the values of 1, a 5, a 10, and a 20. So how do I do Bitcoin? If there's only 21 million, wait a minute, I got, how many products do I got? Coke, Pepsi, Canadian Club. I got the Mahomes card. I got these, which I'm going to get at the casino. So I give them $5 for these. I got a cell phone here. I got a computer we're on. I've got avocados. You see where I'm going is I have to come up with, let's take a look at a car. I need steel. I need the tires. I need the engine. I need the transmission. I need the brakes. I need the windows. I need the paint. Am I going to be able to do all that with 21 million Bitcoin? I don't think so. How do I value everything? Because I don't even know what the value of Bitcoin is. And it's valued in dollars. So when the dollar goes out, what's Bitcoin's value? Gold's a different animal. I know what gold's worth. I don't need gold to be worth dollars. Gold will be worth gold. I walk in, $35,000 an ounce of gold. I buy a Camry. Then the dollar goes away. I still have the gold. Now it's worth now a half ounce buys me the Camry. Does the guy take my half ounce? Absolutely. The salesman would be drooling all over me going, oh, you got gold. Oh, yeah, here, I got cars all over. Because it's money. It's always money. Is he going to do that with Bitcoin? He doesn't know the value of it. Gold will not have a dollar value, right? So gold doesn't have a dollar value. It has a gold value. Gold's worth this, not in dollars. Gold will be worth gold. And that's really what separates the gold. So are you going to have enough Bitcoin to price all their components out? Because there's a lot more, you need a lot more than 21 million Bitcoins, and then to price it in Bitcoin. And then if the dollar goes away, what is the Bitcoin worth? This is the other question. What is Bitcoin without dollars? Is it something? Is it money or medium of exchange? Which it's not, but you'll hear them say it is. Well, do you know what a medium of exchange is? No. And then you go to work, and then how do they pay you? They got to pay in Bitcoin. I got to have an account. And what if they run out of Bitcoin? Because you know how many people are working? How many people in the U.S.? 375 million. And they all have a Bitcoin. Wait a minute. We only have 21 million Bitcoin. We got 375 million people, and they all will need a Bitcoin account, because either the government's going to pay them in Bitcoin or the employer is going to pay them in Bitcoin so they can use it. We got a problem. We only have 21 million available, of which, how do I divvy that up? The 375 million US, but oh, wait, Canada. Oh, how about Europe? How about Russia has China? How do we divvy that up when there's only 21 million? And there's a lot more than 21 million people. That's where gold comes in. You can do it because everybody knows gold. Gold's like accepted, which comes back to number 5. It must be accepted. But do people accept Bitcoin? No. I mean, if I wanted to go buy a car, like I said, and let's say the dollar's worth, Bitcoin's worth 50,000, gold's worth 2. Could I give you a Bitcoin for the car? Are they even set up to take it? Do they accept it? But if I gave him enough gold, he would. He'd know that has a value. He's comfortable with that. He accepts the gold. Would he accept the Bitcoin? Now the dollar goes away, right? We've destroyed the dollar. Gold now has a value of gold. 1 ounce will buy your car. What is Bitcoin's value? How do you value Bitcoin if you don't use dollars? In gold? Then what's the point of the Bitcoin? So this is what he doesn't understand, but yet he'll say it. And then people watching it will go, oh, good, he's going to Bitcoin. I'm going to go buy Bitcoin. It'll go up, which is why he's saying it. But it's incorrect. That's like me predicting take Baltimore over KC because they got Lamar. And I got my head up my ass. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about because Mahomes is the bet because he's better. We know Mahomes is better. We know gold's better than Bitcoin. We know when the dollar goes out, Bitcoin, how are you going to value Bitcoin if there's no dollar? And the dollar has no value. So a lot of people don't want the dollar to go anywhere and don't want the banks to go out. But guess what? And this is what we know. It doesn't matter. They can't do anything about it. You can't, as he said, the freight train going down the hill is going to fall into the ravine, which sounds like Back to the Future. When the train fell over right into Eastwood Ravine. But that's the same thing. The dollar is gone, which means how do you value things that are priced in dollars? As I've said, eventually your house will go to zero and then get valued in gold. And most things will get valued in gold. So is Bitcoin going to get valued in gold? This is hysterical. If it is, but you've limited it to 21 million, but you got 370 million you got what? 4 billion people in the world who are going to need Bitcoin, but there's not enough Bitcoin. Okay, well, the BRICS countries will just use the gold-backed currency. So my guess is what you do, if you really understand this shit, which he doesn't, you start using BRICS currency here. Whatever the value of gold is, that's how are they going to do it? How is China and Russia and India and all the BRICS countries, how are they going to do their market? They'll value gold at 10, 20, 30,000 and off you go. It's not going to be 2,000. It's got to be much higher. There's not enough. They run into the same thing. You can't, you need gold. So therefore you need as much gold as you've printed the dollars. So it needs a higher value. So to me, your only option with Bitcoin is to get rid of the 21 million and then start printing out Bitcoin currency is what you need. Because it'll never be accepted if you can't hold it. Because what if the internet goes? What if the Russians pull the internet, or the Chinese, and the Bitcoin's gone, or the internet's gone? How do you get your money out of Bitcoin? What if it's the queen, the crypto queen from Romania who made it up? One coin, it's not even real. How do you know Bitcoin's real? There isn't anything to actually hold. So there's their trust for it. So when we're looking at it, I'm not looking at it because I'm older. I'm looking at it as an economist, understanding what money is. It's got to be acceptable. Are you going to accept Bitcoin to go to the grocery store with? Right now, it's a penny stock investment. I'm going to buy it and hope it goes up in value. And I'm not going to sell it because I believe it's going to go up. So that's another problem. If 21 million is bought, how do they get in the marketplace? Because nobody's selling them. So therefore, how do I get one to go grocery shopping? And this is what this guy doesn't understand. He's on a Bitcoin show, so he wants to kiss their ass. He's doing a real bad job because he doesn't know. Then he uses alligator and says, well, he's talking gold, gold, gold. But he doesn't talk Bitcoin because he's too old. No, he doesn't talk Bitcoin because he understands it's a Ponzi scheme. It's not acceptable. If somebody gave me one Bitcoin right now, I couldn't accept it. I don't have an account. I don't want to start an account. I don't know how I'll get it from the bank. And I don't know what the value is. You want to buy my service? It's $100. Or you can give me 2 ounces of silver, or give me a 1/4 ounce of gold, not even a 1/10 of an ounce of gold. Bitcoin, I don't know what it's worth. I don't know how to get it. I got to set up an account. I got to write down this code that I got to eat, memorize and eat because, I can't, somebody can steal it. I'll put it in my safe. I mean, it's such a nightmare and there's not enough of it. There's enough of it to go around. It's like Mahomes. You can't make this currency because there's only 50 of them. And you got you got 1 billion people. So with Mahomes, it's a collectible, but it can never be currency. It can't be money, but it's worth money. It's an asset. And that's what Bitcoin is like collecting cards. So why do they say it's limited? What's so good about it being limited? If it's money, it's not good that it's limited. Money, you need enough so everybody can get the money. So when gold comes, they need gold to be expensive. So it's worth more. So everybody can have some, but it is kind of limited to 250,000 tons. But if they print the money, I mean, that's why you need a higher price because how are you going to, the 2,000 an ounce, you can't print it much. But when you get it to 20, 30, 40,000 an ounce, or you get it where gold's gold, which is what's going to happen. So the gold will be worth X, and then they'll print all this money, and everybody in the BRICS world will have it. And I would suggest it would be the reserve currency, and I would suggest that's what we'll use. It's the only alternative. We've got to use that. What else can we use? I mean, the idiots here have sold our 8,000 tons. We don't have it. You had the money, but you printed it to zero. So it doesn't have a value. Gold will keep its value. But if you're going to print the notes and instead of having the gold, it's got to have a higher price so you can print enough notes so everybody can get it. So 8 billion people can get gold-backed currency. So there's no reason the U.S. can't use the BRICS currency. The BRICS have been using our currency, right? They have their own currency. Then you got to change it in dollars, right? So the U.S. dollars, the global reserve currency. So why the fuck can't gold be? And it doesn't mean we need to have gold to do it. He doesn't get that. This is where I'm really starting to be curious about this guy. I thought he was good, and now he shows he just talks the talk and he doesn't know what he's saying. This is very scary. All right, let's listen to a little bit more.
And it's the only real viable alternative at this point to fiat currency. And if you don't
Gold
trust
is.
the banks, and I think a lot of people are having trouble trusting the government right now, then that's where you go. I mean, when are we going to see something worse happen in the banking system? I mean, we've had the Silicon Valley thing. There are other banks that are on the verge of getting into trouble. The banking system is not solid. So where do you put your money at that point? Do you run out and just try to buy gold? I'm not sure. I think Bitcoin will then become even more desirable and attractive than it's ever been in the past. It may be something that the government can't stop and then will be compelled to live with, which would be fine with me. I'd love it that way.
You bring up really fascinating points.
Well, wait a minute. He's saying that gold will be too expensive. Well, won't Bitcoin be too expensive? Not only that, but it won't have a value because it's valued in dollars. So the gold, why wouldn't I run the gold? Gold I know has a value. Gold I can put in my hands. I can't put digital currency in my hands. And you got a Bakeman and you Friedman and you got the queen, the crypto queen with fake digital. You don't know what you got. You don't even know if it's real because you can't hold it. Who's going to trust it? And when they pull the plug, like on the real estate trust, like our good friend from Attack on Wall Street, then what do? Oh, sorry, your Bitcoin's worthless because A, the dollar's worthless, or B, oh, it really never was real in the first place because you never owned it. Yeah, it's in your wallet and you have 5 Bitcoins, so it's worth $250,000. Oh, but the dollar is worthless. Now what's it worth? Nothing. Oh, you've just been fucked. You want to go through that again? Attack on Wall Street guy? But gold can never do that. And this is, he's not.
As we are seeing a consolidation of the smaller banks to these too big to fail that have already, kicked the can up to the sovereign level, and taxpayers have to bail out all the risk takers in the elites and the Washington insiders. It's time for another quick break to hear these messages from my partners. Next up, probably the last president.
No living being should ever eat processed food for every single meal of their life.
Warren Harding was probably the last president who said, you know what, no, we're not. We're going to step out of the way and just let the economy regulate itself. And the recession was like a blip. I mean, all of a sudden we were chugging along again, but because of all the intervention and all the central bank manipulation of the economy after 1929, we exacerbated,
after
I think, the Great Depression. Seeing these cycles of up and down and up and down. Each crisis seems to be worse, but then they just taper over it and they fill the little leaks with bubble gum, and all of a sudden we have this massive sovereign debt bubble. And when that pops, it could truly be hyperinflation in a way that none of us probably imagined possible in the great superpower that was the United States. And so how do we get that message out to the public that we really need a shift? You can't keep voting in for more intervention and more stimulus and more handout checks, because that's the very thing that's going to crush us.
Well, you're talking about the mother of all bubbles. And first of all, you've got to persuade people to believe that's even possible. And my experience in Washington and around here is that, no, they refuse to believe it. Leon Trotsky, not one of my favorite people. I think he and his comrades, the Bolsheviks, should have been rounded up and shot in the interests of humanity, and we'd say tens of millions of lives. But he was right about a few things. And in 1920, when people were telling him what they wanted to do in the Soviet Union was impossible, he looked at them and he said, look, the revolution was always impossible until it happened. That's what you're dealing with right now. The same mentality. Oh, that's impossible. That's impossible. It's not impossible. And then it happens. So I don't think you're going to get very far in the short run convincing anybody of anything until it.
But that's our problem with gold. That's why I used the Titanic. No, it's not alligator. He's Colonel. What is he? He's Colonel Douglas McGregor. He's the one that says Russia is winning the war and Putin's this and Putin's that. And basically he's saying what's really going on, but he's got to stick to military. He can't go to financial. He doesn't know financial. He's sitting there going, yeah, we can do Bitcoin. And it's not even money. You can't. Why don't we make Microsoft stock money? I mean, it's the same thing. The value keeps changing. Well, the value changes on gold. We all accept gold. If you gave gold to somebody, they would take it in a heartbeat. However, I can't even give you Bitcoin because it doesn't really exist. That's the problem. Thank you, Greg and John. I appreciate that. It's nice getting the feedback. See, I'd rather get the feedback here than leave comments. And then the problem with comment that somebody disagrees with you and you can't really talk to them. That's why I want to talk to you here and I can explain. But I read comments on other shows and I know I leave a lot of idiot comments to half these gold guys because they don't know what they're talking about. But I don't really want to read them and get frustrated and upset by them. You get that in football. You pick one game wrong, you pick 100 games right and 5 wrong, and they're going to get you for the wrong game. And you're like, hey, we won with Mahomes 99 times. Oops, sorry. So they don't want to remember the lid. But thank you, Greg. Well, I try to. First of all, I understand what I'm talking about, which is very critical. As I said, he just says, "Well, we will. It'll be your only option's Bitcoin." No, he doesn't think it through, and he doesn't understand it. The only option is gold and silver, not Bitcoin, because gold and silver doesn't need dollars to have value. Bitcoin is valued in dollars, and it can't be printed, so you can't inflate gold or silver. So the value is going to not go down. And then Bitcoin, if you keep it at 21 million, there's not enough. And if you then inflate it to 42 million, but it sounds like you need 42. It sounds like you need 6 billion to have, so everybody can have an account. And then that's just people, that isn't companies. So the amount of Bitcoin you need is ridiculous. Where if you have gold, you can print a lot of gold-backed currency because you have gold and you make the price higher and say, okay, gold's backing this currency. I have this much gold, so I can print this much currency where the idea is I take it to the bank, I want gold. But if you have the currency backed by gold, you don't even do that. You don't need to do that. You just know it's there. And that's really it. But yes, but that's what I see. I try to get and explain it in English, but I don't say it and then I can't back it up. I think that's what I strive to do, where this guy's, what is he talking about? So that's a little bit more.
So I think you've got probably support for that viewpoint from perhaps a third of the electorate. And remember that viewpoint is not at all supported at the top. And if you go on the mainstream media, go to the various cable stations and listen to them talk about the economy, you'd think that we're on the path to blue skies. Yeah. Not only will there be no recession, whatever happens, it's a soft landing. Everything is just fine. Then you and I, earlier in this conversation, discussed all the various things happening beyond America's borders along with the catastrophe on the Mexican border and the proliferation of these illegals inside the country, the collapse of the rule of law, which has really happened in the United States because the chief law enforcement officer of the country is President Biden. And he's not enforcing federal law, he's suspending it or violating it. When you look at those things, how will those events, depending upon what happens over the next 6 to 12 months, impact the economy, impact the financial system, change the lives of Americans? That's why when people start painting this glamorous picture of a soft landing and it's good time, happy times are here again, I sort of sit there and said, how can you possibly reach that conclusion?
Well, and that's the whole movement towards you will own nothing and you will be happy. It's crazy to think about because this country was founded by revolutionaries who fought, rugged individuals who.
So how can you have nothing? How does that work? I go to work, I get a check, or I get some sort of medium of exchange to use to buy things. So how do I own nothing? Or am I just renting everything? I mean, is that what I'm doing? I'm renting my apartment. I'm renting my car. I'm renting my clothes. I'm renting my food. I mean, I'm renting my Canadian club. This isn't really mine. I'm renting it. I mean, it's the stupid. See, when you don't understand economics, Austrian economics, you say the stupidest things and you are fucked. You have no idea what you're talking about. This is the problem. So this guy is a colonel, and he's smart when it comes to military. That would be like me talking military. If I start talking military, I don't know what I'm talking about. I do know what I'm talking about when it comes to football, poker, women, stoic, some health, and then, of course, Austrian economics, gold and silver. I do know what I'm talking about in those subjects, but I do not know what I'm talking about in military. I've been to the Ukraine, but I know the way the Ukrainians are. Jenna, her dog, I thought had a kidney problem, doesn't have the kidney problem. So the dog's better. And she says, I'm strong. And, that's how they are. They're very proud people. That's why she's still living there, man. Everybody left and she's still there. And, she wants me to come. And I'm like, there's no way I'm not going to, get a rocket in our backyard because Putin decides to destroy us. So that ain't happening. I don't care how confident and strong you are. I am not running into a Russian tank or something, right? I told her if you ever there's military around you, I told her take the gold out. I says just barter gold for your life. I got gold. Oh, okay, we'll let you live then. That's how far away. I got Bitcoin. I can't accept it. I don't have a Bitcoin wallet. Sorry, we'll have to kill you. Wait, but if I have gold, everybody will take gold, even the Russian soldiers. That's just funny. So that's what I was watching yesterday. What else was I watching? Then I was watching this today. This guy's actually pretty good. He's one of us. This guy, Professor Glenn Deason. I got to watch it again because I don't know where to take it off. But he was here. I would recommend him. Then I was watching this gold, which is kind of biased to it. Now, we don't have to watch it, but I'll give you lessons learned. So there's gold all over the place. Mexico, Peru. No, I think it's Peru, South America. And there's a bunch of gold in Africa. And there's a bunch of gold, South Africa, but then Ghana and some of these other countries. There's San Francisco. He goes back to the gold rush here's the biggest lesson I can teach you. All right. San Francisco. Let's try to find it. I'll have him present.
I'm going to tell you a story.
All right. This is Beautiful Economics. He's going to talk about the gold rush. He's talking all about gold. He's going to talk about San Francisco 49ers, because in 1849, there was the gold rush. Everybody came to San Francisco because they discovered gold there. Even back then, they knew how valuable gold was. So everybody and their mothers going to San Francisco to try to find gold and get rich. Okay, but then what happens is not thought of except for by us. So let's go.
The glint of gold. Within a year, the news shot right around the world, triggering the gold rush.
And the 49ers.
An event that was to transform California. There's a small village on the coast of California. It was called Yerba Buena. It's now known as San Francisco. It was very different back then. So, let's start at the beginning. Over 170 years ago. Hundreds of large ships arrive from across the Americas, Europe, and China. Most are abandoned as their crews leave for the gold fields. The ships left behind are buried, creating foundations for a new settlement, the central hub for gold prospectors. Houses, churches, stores, and factories spring up across the bay. But fires and earthquakes mean the city is constantly rebuilt. So barely any physical signs of the gold rush survive. Until a remarkable discovery. Off the eastern coast of the United States, and a mile down on the seabed, explorers discovered a shipwreck. The SS Central America, which sank in 1857.
The ship was carrying more than $3 million in gold at the time. And you have to convert that to today's dollars, which is some monster number in the hundreds of millions, maybe.
See, but notice it's gold. It's indestructible. It still looks brand new. That's the beauty of gold. You can't destroy it.
Were recovered from the SS Central America. And they are remarkable. The value of gold on the ship is one thing, but there's an incalculable, unquestionable value that is priceless, and that's history.
In a secret location, historian and geologist Fred Hollibird has hundreds of precious artifacts recovered from the ship. From gold to everyday items, giving us a new insight into what it was like to be living through the gold rush.
These are well-used work pants. Today, you kind of call them jeans. But the thing that stands out the most is this 5-button pattern, which is so standard on the pants made by Levi Strauss Company, today known as Levi's.
This could be the oldest surviving pair of Levi's, dating back to the gold rush. The miners needed tough-wearing clothes, and Levi's sold in their thousands.
Mr. Strauss became what I consider the most successful of all California gold rush businessman by far.
Mr. Strauss made his wealth from the gold rush without finding a single fleck of gold.
A gold rush isn't just for the gold. Imagine the lack of supplies. You're trying to get a shovel, you're trying to get a gold pan. You know, we have every type of merchant you can think of.
Okay, so now we get into Austrian economics and Adam Smith. There is a demand for pants, for gold pans, for picks, for shovels, clothes, food, housing, everything. You know, you've got all these people looking for gold. Well, what else do they need? They need a house. They need, well, some form of housing. They need clothes. They need food. They need picks and shovels to do it. So it ends up where, as he just said, even if you didn't dig an ounce of gold, you could have got rich. And that is what we're looking at in Adam Smith. He observes there's a lot of people, but they need things. And that's where we come in. And we would make scones and coffee and donuts and bakeries and pants and shirts and shoes. And we'd make a fortune because everybody there is there for the gold, which is fine. We have demand because they need it. There's a market for the shoes and the pants, the Levi's, and the food. They got to eat. So it creates a whole city, creates a lot of millionaires. And so this is what gold does. Gold is wealth, and therefore the wealth creates this big city and makes it much more valuable. They're ruining it now, but basically that's what you had, is other businesses popping up because of the gold. I noticed that where I swim it's a rec center. Basketball, it's got weights. I go ride the bike there and I swim. And there was a swim meet, okay, and some high schools, right? Saturday and Sunday. I can't swim in my lane. I gotta go to the little pool, and Well, what do I say? You've got 200-300 people by the pool watching this 7 lake. There's 7 lengths, and all these people are watching. And I'm thinking, why aren't you selling hamburgers, hot dogs, chips, pop? They have vending machines, but then people got to walk all the way up front. I go, why isn't there somebody selling hot dogs and Fritos and Pepsis? Why isn't anybody selling them that? Go along. The people are there, and they're going to get hungry, and because of what's going on. Now, they did have a room for the swimmers where they could get orange juice or chips or something, but all the parents couldn't go in there, I don't believe. So that's my point. It's the same thing with softball. When I coached my daughter's softball team, fast pitch and slow pitch, and there would be a food place. So you could get hot dogs and chips and pop while you're watching the game. The parents, even the kids, they'd get hungry and they'd get a hot dog and chips. And that's what happens. So it's thinking, this is critical thinking, right? That's what critical thinking is to me, and being analytical and problem solving. That's where it all kind of goes. As you look and there's a problem, you've got all these people and they don't have supplies. So you solve the problem by having the supplies and the clothes and the food and the housing that they need. And then you get rich. So that's what you should be doing. That's kind of like what Dell did. He saw that the computers, but he made a individual computer. And that's what Apple did with the cell phone. Before, it was a landline, and you'd be in your house and you'd get the phone, and that would be it. And then you'd have an answering machine. So when you'd go out, you didn't know if anybody called you, but you could leave a message, right? So then it became, here's a phone. So they invent a phone. Then it becomes, when I'm not home, I'll miss a call. Oh my God, I can't miss a call. So then you create an answering machine. So he makes a lot of money. And at first they're expensive, then they get cheap. Then a TV comes along, and at first they're expensive, and then they get cheap because all the competition sees they can make. They see there's a market and they can make it. So the guy with the answering machine sees there's a market, he makes it. The competition comes in, lower the price. That's productivity, and that's how 10 people get rich instead of one. Instead of the one guy doing the answering machine, everybody and their brother joins in, and now you got 10 and you got competition. The price goes down, the quantity goes up. But what happens? Oh, here comes a cell phone. So they create a cell phone, which basically destroys the landline, and the answering machine goes away. You can't sell an answering machine. So that's how the free market works. That's why you cannot have Keynesian or government economics, or the government controls it. Keynes said it's a black box. This is all we're having. There is no new products. There's nothing. It's just, here's how many products we have, and that's it. Well, wait a minute, Keynes. We got a cell phone now. we got VCRs now. Now we got disc players. And then out goes the landline. Out goes the answering machine, because now I got an answering machine on my phone. And I don't even need that. It just, now I see it says recent and it says this person called. I don't even need an answering machine anymore. I can go here and I can look at recents and I go, oh, Scott called. Oh, Alyssa called. Oh, these numbers called. And I could go from there. I don't even need an answering machine for them to leave me a message. I can just, I'm going to call Scott back. What's up? That's you don't need, because the only reason you need an answering machine is to who called, not really what they said, because you're going to call them back. And now the cell phone's portable. I can carry it with me. Although I don't think they meant into the hot tub. That's a bit much. There'll be people in the hot tub with the phone. It bothers me. It's like, dude, can't you fucking relax for 5 minutes? Do you have to be on the cell phone watching whatever? Or I hate when they're talking on the cell phone. I hate when they've got the thing in their ear and they're talking. It's like, because you don't know who, you just think they're talking to themselves. So look what's happened to the market. Landline, answering machine, cell phone comes, and the cell phone, the idea is everybody will have a cell phone. We're going to make a fortune because now we're going to have 1 billion sales in cell phones, right? Daria's daughter has one. I'm sure Jenna's son has one. 10, 12, 14 years old, they got phones. Where before it would be one family landline. That would be it. And that, and if you wanted to talk private, you'd put it in you'd get a second one, but you still had one line. So now what happens? It evolves. So now you have landline goes out, answering machine goes out, they're gone. Now it's a cell phone, and the answering machine's out because you can see who called you, or they could leave a message on your phone. And now you've added the internet and pictures, so I don't need a camera anymore. So the camera industry goes out. I mean, I get the professionals, but most people, I'll just take a selfie like I just do here. I don't need a camera for it. I have one on my phone. So you get that. And then, so Apple makes a ton of money selling iPhones, selling individual, but they're too expensive. So then the Android crowd comes in, and I can go to Walmart and get for $110 what you're buying an Apple iPhone, and you're spending $1,200. I don't see any difference, but you're plugged into Apple, which I don't like. I don't want people knowing my business. So that's the thing. Then there's apps like WhatsApp. So I'm WhatsApping with Daria and Jenna and some other friends of mine, and I can talk to them. I can have a call with them, or I could just text them. So I text the girls every day in Europe, and then send pictures. And then I also get, I'll leave voice messages, and then we could video call, but I don't think we can see each other. So you still need Skype for that. Unfortunately, they don't have it where you can see each other on the phone, I don't believe. So I believe you have to do a voice, you have to do a message. So I could be sitting there, hey, Daria, I'm doing class, da, 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 and I could send it and she could hear it. But I don't think I could call her and she could see me like you can see me. But here comes a new thing. Here comes the cell phone. Here comes the new TVs. We don't need DVRs or DVDs. I can throw out all my VCRs and all my VCR tapes. They're no longer needed. I can get rid of my desktop computer. Now I got a laptop. I can fly with it. I can go to the Ukraine and carry my computer. Or like when I went to Barcelona, I had the computer in the room. I could teach class anywhere I wanted, and check my internet. I'm running Netflix from my laptop in Barcelona or Germany, so I can see it. So it's now a lot going into one. They're making a lot obsolete, right? TVs. I know friends, they don't even have TVs. I just use my laptop screen to watch, the football games or whatever they're watching on there. So that is how it evolves. And if you're smart, you look at that, and like Apple was smart, and they go, well, we should make a cell phone for everybody. It'll kill the landline. There's really no competition. I mean, there is now with the Android versus the iPhone, but still it's cell phone versus, it's not, you can't compete cell phone versus the landline. I don't even know why anybody has a landline. So you have your cell phone, and they slowly get you into it where first it was free, and then you bought service. And now it's to the point where you buy the phone, have it for 2 or 3 years, and then you get the service part of it. So in San Francisco, the common denominator instead of cell phones is gold. So everybody's finding gold. So by finding the gold, you've got all these people in one place, and they're going to be there a while. The whole fucking San Francisco, which wasn't there before, some guy stumbles onto a couple of things of gold, and all of a sudden there's a gold rush because everybody wants gold. So there's a market for gold. And that's why when I tell you, don't worry, there's always a market for gold. There'll always be a demand for gold. Your gold cannot go to zero, and it can't be printed. And there's not a lot left underground. They found it. And I'll show you later. He goes to London, and you'll look at the London bank, and you go, well, yeah, we're going on the gold standard and I don't think it's London's bank money. I don't think it's London's gold. It's other countries that have their gold in London, I think is what it is. Probably a lot of China or Russia. But the point is, if you're smart and you see what's happening, like at the swimming pool, let's sell hot dogs and chips and Coke, and we make some money. We got 500 people. Like that, we go and we see everybody together for gold. We then sell them Levi's, and we sell them shoes, and we sell them houses, and we sell them places to live, clothes, food, materials, right? But you got to have like you said, Levi Strauss got all his money from gold in San Francisco, not from getting the gold, although he'd have been better off with the gold. And I'm sure they paid him in gold because they didn't have money. I don't know what they did for money back then. I'm assuming there was some money, but look how everybody loves gold. Everybody comes, oh my God, there's gold here, and everybody comes. And this has happened since the Romans, and then San Francisco and other areas. This is what happens. When you find a gold mine, you go out of your mind. And this is smart. So if there's other things that pop up, then, but they got to be demanded. And this is where I fight on the electric cars. This is where I fight on Bitcoin. The electric car is not demanded. Nobody wants it. We all have gas-powered cars. Why would I leave? Why would I leave my landline phone for the cell phone? Well, it's convenient, one thing. I don't need an answering machine, but it's convenient. So I can take it, get a call, I'm in the car, answer it. I could be, in a different country or city, and I can take my phone with. You couldn't do that before. If you went on a vacation and you have a landline, what are you going to do? And then if you got to have an answering machine to see who's calling you. So I remember we drove to San Francisco when I was a kid. We went through the Grand Canyon and through Vegas, playing at Caesars. Come on. And how do you know if anybody's calling you? So you've got to call the answering machine. So you had to have. I don't know if maybe they did it. I didn't call. Who's calling me when I'm 10 years old? Although they probably wanted my football picks, but they, so they would call to see what's going on. Now you wouldn't call the cell phone. You would call the cell phone, and no matter where you are, the cell phone's with you. So that was an advancement that improved, right, from the landline to the cell phone. So does electric cars improve? So the horse and buggy was around. Here came the gas-powered cars. That was a big improvement. You need to feed the horse, clean his crap up, everything, and I could just be in the car. Okay. Now, here comes the electric car. Does it offer a benefit over the gas-powered car? None. It's actually harder. I have to find a charging station. And I'm sure there's not enough electricity to do it. So electricity will go up, which is going to fuck us on our, at our house. Running the lights is got to go more expensive because they need more electricity for the charging station. It catches on fire. It apparently rusts. Apparently, if you're in an accident, it costs the amount of the car to fix it. The battery's not going to last, and it's very expensive. Well, the gas-powered car is better. The cell phone beat the landline because you could take it with. There was an advantage. There's no advantage to the electric cars. In fact, nobody wants them. That's why it's a stupid idea. So it works when you're going cell phone from landline, but it doesn't work where you want me to leave my gas-powered car and drive an electric car, which is full of problems and stress that I don't need. Am I going to be able to make it when my battery catch on fire? When my battery, can I charge it? Am I going to find a charging place to charge it? If I'm driving 4 hours to Toronto or going to Ohio, am I going to have enough juice to drive it? Where my car's filled up with gas. I get 400 miles. I'm driving 200, I don't have to worry about gas. So you're creating worry. So it's not a good thing. But what you look at is what's out there, how to improve it. I improve the landline with the cell phone. I improve the TV. Now I got Roku, and it's got YouTube on it. It's got Netflix on the TV and everything like that. So now it's a streaming service instead of the other, which I still don't really get, but that's okay. I'm improving the quality, then it's worth it. So I buy Netflix because I don't have internet, or I don't have like cable. I got rid of the cable at $130 a month. Netflix is $15. And then internet we would need anyway for the phone, for the computer. So that's a wash. So it's a benefit. So as things improve the quality of stuff or the need, then that's what Adam Smith's saying. So in San Francisco, well, these people, they don't have materials. Somebody's got to sell it to them. And then there's one guy selling the picks and the shovels. Well, I'm going to go open up the store and I'll be right next to him selling them for a penny cheaper. people are running to save money. They need houses, they need schools, they need churches, they need, now it becomes a city. And that's really thinking, but that's what Adam Smith said. I'm watching these people at the bakery and they're eating cupcakes. So I'm going to make more cupcakes. And I see, yeah, they like bagels. Okay. And then the other baker across the street sees this, says, that's the market. That's what they demand. That's the market. I'm going to make it. I'm going to join the market. And that's what I keep telling you. That's what you want to do. Is there demand for the market? And that's where I fight you with the electric car. There is no demand for the electric car, and you're trying to sell it. And if I'm observing like Adam Smith, I don't see people ordering electric cars at the bakery, right? And that's my problem with Bitcoin. So here comes Bitcoin out. Is it needed? Well, this way the government prints money and causes inflation, but is that really going to stop that? And that's really what you get is, does Bitcoin stop inflation? Which is really why Bitcoin was created, right? We'll keep it limited, right? Why is it limited? We'll keep it limited to 21 million. We'll price it in dollars. I'm not sure where the price comes from, if there's a supply demand or what. We'll do what's called a blockchain. Well, yeah, it's got to be on the internet or it's got to be in the computer to track everything. So I don't think that's a big deal. So it ends up, is it really worth it? Do we need it? No, we don't need it. So we argue, well, why don't we just get gold? And gold's a little harder to come by, it's a little more expensive, but we know they can't inflate it. So you have all this dollars and you're worried about inflation because they print, and I got gold over here going, they don't print this. And then you got Bitcoin over here, but going, wait, it doesn't have a value like gold. It's not gold, not money. It doesn't really fit what you thought it was. You thought it was just a new way of paying for things, but the problem is nobody's using it to pay. It's not a payment system. It's not go order a pizza, I'm paying with Bitcoin. I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm going out for dinner. I'm going to my barbecue place, my Chinese place. They don't take it. Well, it's not accessible or acceptable. Fuck. It ain't money. Now, can I go there? I know I can go to the barbecue place and give the guy silver and he would take it. I've already went down that route. Would the Chinese take it? Probably. They're more apt to take silver and gold, where I can say, here's an ounce of silver for dinner, and they'd probably go, well, let me check the price. Yeah, it's worth $30. Yeah, I'll let you buy dinner with it, which is what we're going to be doing shortly. Or the Bitcoin, well, I don't take Bitcoin. So it's something that isn't a market because I don't have both ends. So if I sell the Mahomes, there's got to be a buyer. If I'm going to sell, that's a market. If I'm going to sell my Bitcoin for dinner, how do I get change? How do they figure the value? And they don't take it. There is no market in Bitcoin. That's the thing that these guys are missing. There is no Bitcoin market. It's just like buying Microsoft stock. You can't really use it to pay for things. What do you have to do? You have to sell it. So you own 1,000 shares of Microsoft. It's $100 a share. You need to pay rent. Well, what are you going to do? You can't use the Microsoft. So you sell so many shares of Microsoft. You get money. You get the medium of exchange, and that's what you use. Well, that's what you basically would do with Bitcoin. It can't be the medium of exchange. It doesn't fit the characteristics. So you can't do it. So you're going to have to sell it in order to do that. Now, you have to do the same with gold and silver. Don't get me wrong. The problem is the dollar that they're using, this medium exchange, they fucked us all because they printed it. And now there is no value in this medium of exchange. So we need a new medium of exchange. As I said, in Amsterdam, way back, it was tulips. And then there was a bad crop. There was no tulips. What do we do for money? And then they start coming out with this. Along the line, they always wanted gold. Gold was always sought after from the Roman times, right? It worked in Rome. Everybody would have bought gold, would have found gold, would have taken it, right? And some of the gold we get, probably from Julius Caesar. I hope this is Caesar's necklace. It could be. Absolutely. Somebody finds it, takes to Switzerland, they sell it, and off we go. So it's the critical thinker sees other values. Oh, I don't need to go to San Francisco there to be a gold thing. Well, I'm going to stay away from that. But they need other things. So the critical thinker sees they need blue jeans, they need material, they need food, they need clothing, they need shelter. So the real businessman or the real analytics economist sees this, applies Adam Smith to it, and says, this is what's needed. This is what I'll come up with. There's a market that needs to be filled. That's basically what should happen, but it's all Say's law, which means the market comes from the supply, or the guy needs blue jeans to work in the mines or wherever he's getting the gold from. He needs jeans. There's a market there. And it's Say's law. He works, he gets gold, but I need things and I'm going to use the money to buy blue jeans. That's Say's law. And when you do electric cars, you're not using Say's law. And a lot of the shit that they're doing is not Say's law. That's the problem. You're doing things nobody wants. Say's law is about, I want a Michigan shirt, or I want Canadian Club. I want them a Holmes cart. They make them a Holmes cart. That's what Say's law is. I went to work, I got money, and I can do this and that. And that's what you do. So I'm going to show you, you want to see some serious gold. Let's go to London. Okay. You want to see gold? We're going to see gold.
London's financial district.
You want to get crazy? Let's get crazy.
They say the streets are paved with gold.
This is London.
And that isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. I did. Yes, I did just walk straight into the Bank of England, the world's second largest depository of gold bullion. I've got an appointment with the bank's chief cashier, one of the very few people with access to its vaults. Sarah John. Hi, Sarah.
Good morning, Idris. Welcome to the Bank of England.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm looking for some gold.
Am I? Let's go this way.
Now, for obvious reasons, I can't reveal our route. What I can reveal is that I followed Sarah deep underground. Until we reached what is without doubt the thickest steel door I have ever seen. Okay, Sarah, don't worry, I do all my own stunts.
It's a pretty heavy door, isn't it?
Already, it's all right. Right, off to you.
So there you go.
Whoa.
How'd you like this in your basement?
Your first glimpse of the Bank of England's gold.
It looks just like Putin's house.
That is a lot of gold. This is really unreal.
What do you think?
That takes your breath away. This is like Raiders of the Lost Ark. About 30% of the world's gold is held in professional vaults just like this. Okay, Sarah, I mean, how much gold is here?
This is one of 9 gold vaults that we have here at the bank. There's about 400,000 gold bars stored here, and collectively they're worth about £250 billion, something like that.
What?
I know, it's a lot, isn't it?
So, I've got to ask the question, like, why do we have this here? Like, how did it turn into, okay, the bank needs to hold this much gold? What was the process? Like, take me back.
So obviously gold's been used for quite a number of years as a form of money. First of all, gold coins themselves. But the problem with gold coins is they're actually quite heavy to carry around.
Oh, poor baby.
Exactly. So what people started to do was they would take their gold coins to a goldsmith, and the goldsmith would issue them with an IOU.
Okay.
And over time, people realised that actually using those IOUs to pay for goods and services was actually easier than actually going and getting the gold and lugging it around.
Okay.
And those IOUs eventually developed into what we now know as banknotes.
That's fascinating, isn't it?
So this is the IOU she's talking about.
Just there?
But it's supposed to be backed by gold.
With the words, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of £20. It's just an IOU. But these days, the Bank of England plays an even bigger role. Holding gold for the world. So why do countries want to store their gold here?
Countries have what are called reserves, so basically savings that they can draw on when they need to, because gold holds its value very well in a time of crisis.
Right.
And it's really easy to buy and sell here in London, and that supports financial stability.
And there was such a crisis not so very long ago.
That's confidence.
On the 26th of December 2004, there was a massive tsunami in the Indian Ocean. It devastated communities in Thailand and Banda Aceh in Indonesia. But in Aceh, there was something unusual about the community that helped it to recover. You see, most people didn't have saving accounts. Instead, they had gold ingots and jewelry, which meant they could quickly use it as collateral and start putting their lives back together. And it's a bit like that on the global scale too. Countries worldwide hold a lot of gold, so that when disaster strikes, they have reliable funds they can fall back on. Gold is still our safest store of value. That's the thing about gold. It's real. You can touch it, and it holds its value. I mean, there's no sticking one in your pocket and getting out of it, is there? Your trousers would be down your ankles. But for me, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone here, the best thing about gold is being able to wear it.
Okay, so what did he just say? People are very comfortable with it. It's collateral. The tsunami hit, and you have gold, and everybody's fine with it. Yep, I'll give you money, or I'll give you this or that. You've got gold, it's worth money. And it's a comfort. It's accepted. Everybody will accept it. As he says, you can touch it. So let's go back to the kernel. You can't touch Bitcoin. We don't know what it is. It's a computer thing, but everybody's comfortable. Why do you think there's the gold vault here? This is like Putin's house, right? This gold vault in London. And this is why they fix the price every day at 10 o'clock in the morning. For some reason, they want to keep the price low, which doesn't really make sense. You'd think they'd want to make it really high. If I had the gold, I'd want it to go up in value. But that's not London's gold. That's the world putting it in London. Why? I have no idea. So the Chinese, well, maybe not the Chinese, but let's say the Swiss might have their gold there, or the French, or the Germans, or the Italians, or Hong Kong. All those people might have their gold there, or the Argentinians, or whoever. So the people in the world store their money in London. And that, as he says, there's faith in the gold. You can touch it and hold it, and they're in bars. Now, I don't buy the gold coins heavy, so I don't want coins, but that is what this IOU is about. It should be gold back. Now, if you notice, all the gold's in London, but if they have gold back currency, it doesn't have to be in the country where it's at, right? So if everybody was on the gold standard and all the gold's in London, it's fine. It's an IOU. And that's my point. The US doesn't need to have the gold physically to have a gold standard again. Yeah, well, that's London. You want me to go back and show you that clip again? But yeah, that's why I say there's no reason to worry about gold. The demand is huge. She said they had 400,000 gold bars. I'll do the math. How many tons that is? I think they're 100. I think they're 100 ounces a piece. I was looking like the biggest gold bars, the James Bond. So if they're 100 ounces a piece, 400,000 times 100 ounces. And then divide that by 32,000 shows you how many tons they have. And they have 9 vaults. So you can see, why do they have vaults? Oh, gold's not worth anything. Oh, really? What did he just say? You can touch it. That's the key to it. You can't touch Bitcoin. Is there demand for gold? Was it coming out of their ears? There was the whole fucking room and there's 9 of them. Are you kidding me? So is there demand for it? Is there a market for it? Absolutely. It's something you can touch. There's trust, there's confidence in gold that it will have a value. And that's the difference between gold and Bitcoin. You can't touch Bitcoin. Do you have confidence in it? No. Does everybody accept it? No. What is this colonel fucking saying about Bitcoin? Well, I'll go to Bitcoin. I ain't going to Bitcoin. After watching this, I'm going to gold. Well, I've already been to gold. I'm going to gold and silver because they're you can touch it, you can feel it. The confidence is there, and it's acceptable. There's a tsunami. They use gold to recoup, right? To fix all the damage. Oh, I got gold. Oh, okay, fine. We've heard from Alligator Egon where people are moving, to Europe, and the only way they could get out was they had gold to get out. I think Egon told that story where people were trapped in Nazi Germany or whatever, but if they had gold, they could get out. I was watching something on the Nazis yesterday, and what they did to the Jews, they wanted the Jews to leave because they didn't want Jews there. And what they would do is they would tax them on the way out. So you had to get a visa to get out. And when you went to get the visa, it was so expensive. It basically took all their money out. And that's what happened. And then I was watching something on the Rothschilds. And they have all these paintings. And Hitler went and just stole them all. And that's that movie Monument Man, where they underground find in the salt mines, there's all these paintings and statues and a shitload of gold. As I said, Nazi Germany was about just a bunch of crooks stealing. It was there to steal gold and paintings. That's exactly what World War II was about for Hitler. Didn't care about anything. He just wanted to get all the gold and silver. And that's probably why he wanted the gold in Fort Knox. It's probably why he came to America. Anyway, this is a very interesting one, but it says it's the World Gold Council bought and paid for this. So I don't know. It's a little bit slanted, but a lot of what he's saying is some of the problems are you own a gold mine. How do you get the gold out? So you got to hire these people and get all these diggers and then try to get the gold out of the ground, right? Because you got chunks of rock, and in the rock are gold, and you're trying to get the gold out of it. So it becomes a very cumbersome machines, and then cleaning the rocks to get the gold and silver out of it. So that is the one problem with having a gold mine, is getting the gold. It's not sitting there like in the vault. That's my kind of gold mine, is the money in the vault. So this is why it's extremely popular. It's very high in demand. This is why I tell you to buy the gold and silver. When they stop trusting this, when people say, you know what, I don't trust my government, this is phony money, it isn't worth anything. Look at this inflation. Look at the prices going up, which is really, this has no value. Is what's really going on, is this has no value. There's no confidence or trust in it. And as soon as people around the world realize their euros, their yuan, their yen are worthless because they're all paper that is not backed by anything, what are they going to do? They're going to go to gold. And you can see why, right? I mean, let's take another.
Gold.
Heavy to carry around.
Can't flip it like.
Exactly. So what people started to do was they would take their gold coins.
See,
to a
look at all
goldsmith,
this gold.
And the goldsmith would issue them with an IOU.
Okay.
And over time, people realised that actually using those IOUs to pay for goods and services was actually easier than actually going and getting the gold and lugging it around.
As long as you keep this backed by gold, it works. When you have this without the gold, it doesn't work. That's why people trusted it, because it was backed by gold. That's why, hence that. But can you put Bitcoin in a room like that and touch it? That's the problem with Bitcoin. And this is what I look at McGregor, and I'm like shaking my head going, you're a fucking two-faced. You're lying to us. I can't trust what you're saying about Russia. You don't know what you're talking about. If you think Bitcoin's money, you're out of your mind. It isn't money. And the biggest thing with gold is you can touch it. And you know it has, and everybody wants it. What is Bitcoin? You don't even know. I think Bitcoin's problem is they should have the coins. With the big B, they should have printed 21 million of them. Then at least you would feel like, okay, there is coins, and that's what they have. But you don't. It's all digital. Well, hell, it's like typing in an email. Well, I don't have anything. So that's really the problem with it, is you don't know what the value is. Gold doesn't need price, right? So if the dollar goes out and you got to borrow gold, believe me, people will give you whatever you want. You'll buy a car. The problem with those big bars are, I don't need that size. What am I going to do with it? I mean, it's a 100 ounce. I believe they're 100 ounce bars. That big bar he's showing you, 100 ounce. 32,000 of them are a ton. So I don't know. I'd like to see Putin. So Putin's basement looks like this. Only he's got 32,000 tons. So he's probably got a few basements and a few swimming pools full of gold. It's indestructible. You don't have to worry about it catching on fire. You don't have to worry about the internet crashing. There's nothing. You got the gold in your hand, and you don't have to worry about anything. And you never have to worry about the price going to zero. You can see there's so much gold There's the how is their demand going to go to zero? That's my point. And how it is, nobody's selling that gold. So when the price goes down, you're like, well, nobody's selling gold to get that price down. So this is my whole dissertation on Bitcoin and gold. You can see the difference. Bitcoin is not real. It's prove to me it's 21 million. Prove to me whatever you want that it's prove to me it's even real, and prove to me it's limited. You can't do, and I don't own anything. I can't touch it. So at the end of the day, if there's a tsunami, how am I going to pay? I'm going to pay the guys in Bitcoin. Oh, but they don't accept it because nobody trusts it. This is the point they're missing. It was never set up as a payment system. It was set up as a Ponzi scheme, sort of like it's probably set up like baseball cards. We'll use Bobby Bo here. This is why has this got a value? Because somebody will buy it. Bobby will buy it for sure, but that's what it is. But they made so many of them, they don't really have a big value. Okay. And then we get to the Mahomes, who's only got 50 of them, and he's winning Super Bowl, so his has a value. If I sell it, there's a buyer. But because I can hold it, to me, this is Bitcoin. Sorry, Bobby. This is Bitcoin because I don't know how many there are. How many of this card there is, I don't know. It doesn't say on the back. So therefore, it's a card. This gets me out of money too. I can buy this and hold it as a store of value. This would store value. This is worth, let's say, $5. So it would be worth $5. What do we do when the dollar goes out? This is my point with Bitcoin. And then you have this. This to me is less of a same idea as Bitcoin. It's limited. It'll hold its value. It'll go up as long as he keeps winning Super Bowls. But what's going to drive you to Bitcoin? So what he's saying is, as the dollar goes out, your only option's Bitcoin. No, your only option's gold and silver, not Bitcoin. There is no Bitcoin option because there is not. It's not agreeable. What's the term? It's not there's no acceptance. The people that buy it only buy it because they want it. They think they found the holy grail of they bought it to make money, right? It's an investment to them. Sort of like, I guess I bought it for $50. I'll make money on it. So did I buy it? Well, I kind of bought it because I like Mahomes. I didn't have any Mahomes cards, and I liked it was 50 count. So from that standpoint, this is an investment. It's not money. I ain't going out to dinner with it, but this is an investment. And this is my idea of what Bitcoin is. You're buying it because it's worth something somehow. Not sure how they're getting the value. Is it supply demand on what? Is there this is the demand for Bitcoin went up or down? Who knows? It says 50,000. Okay, was that real or not? And it's really bought as an investment. Nobody's using it to buy and sell things. You're not buying cards. Could you buy gold with Bitcoin? Yes. So you're telling me you'd rather own gold than rather own the Bitcoin is what you're saying. Because if you're buying gold with Bitcoin, you're preferring the gold to the Bitcoin. And that's what that's what you're telling me. So I don't buy that it's money. I buy it's an investment. To me, it's a Ponzi scheme because you don't know what's going on with it. You can't touch or feel. And how is it different than Madoff? This is where I get it's a Ponzi scheme because Madoff, you didn't have anything. He sent you a statement saying, yeah, you got $1,000 in your account. You didn't ask where you got it from. And it was clearly, the money's in your account. That's really what it is. So with Mahomes and Bitcoin, they're not money, they're investments. You're buying the Bitcoin for one reason and one reason only, to make money on it. Do you make money on this? No, this is the medium of exchange, so you can buy and sell things. Then you get gold. Gold's going to protect you because you saw the gold bars and you go, fuck, look at all these gold bars. It ain't going anywhere. It's highly demanded, and gold will protect your money, right? If I have that bar of gold, I know how can I lose money? Because I know there'll be huge demand for it, right? So that's what you have. With Bitcoin, is there a huge demand for it? I don't know. You're buying it for one reason, as an investment to go up. But can you use it to order a pizza or a barbecue or Chinese or get a car or get clothes? Can I go to a clothes store, a department store, Saks? Can I go to Saks Fifth Avenue and use it? Well, then it ain't money. They're not going to take it because they don't know what it is and they don't know what the value is. It's not a store of wealth and it's not a medium of exchange. So we've covered what it is not. Therefore, it is not money. Therefore, it's only used as an investment. Why do you want to be in a risky investment? You want to get out. You're buying gold for safety, right? Okay, I take $100,000 and I buy $100,000 worth of gold. I know I'm fine. I know that $100,000. Now I'm not buying it that it'll go to $1 million, but it will because the dollar will go out. There's nothing else out there, and the gold will go up in price, but everybody doesn't understand that it's being manipulated down. So they think, well, gold doesn't really go up in price. Oh, believe me, it will once you get rid of COMEX. And COMEX can't stay because now with the Basel III, they need, when they do the derivative, they need the physical gold to back it. And when they do it, the Chinese are sitting there going, I want all this gold in your derivative. And so they got to come up with it. Well, there's not, all those gold bars you saw in London were not England. London doesn't have any gold. Can you believe this? They've got all the gold in the safe, but it's not their gold. That's why I doubt we even have in Fort Knox, because they would show it to you. This girl had no problem walking you down saying, here we go. Here's our gold. Now, do you believe there's gold in England? Yes. Do you believe it's their gold, though? It's not, but you can see there is gold, tons of it in England. And if we showed you Fort Knox, you wouldn't even, there isn't even gold to show you, is why they don't show it. Otherwise, why wouldn't they open the door and say, here's our gold? Even though it's not theirs, it still appear as gold. But because we don't show it, proves that we don't have it. Because this lady went down and we got 9 of these safes, and not a problem. Greg and John, how's the gym, TK? You meet any gold friends? No, I don't really. My gold buddy, she wasn't there. She's busy doing stuff. No, I didn't really meet. When I get there, the hot tub wasn't too crowded, and I'm able to swim in mine. On the bike, I just mostly ignore most of the people. No, I come here for gold. So Daria's got this girlfriend. I'm going with her. And Jenna's got Natasha. And I say to them, I got this. These are my friends, but I only really see you here. But that's how I've always kind of lived. I have friends at poker, but I only see them at poker. I have friends here when I'm teaching. I had friends when I was in school, but you just see them at school. So I kind of departmentalize everything. So now I want to talk gold or I want to talk football, and that's what we have here. But I got people that I know understand it and want to talk it. That's the problem. When I try to, talk gold at the gym, they're not interested. So it's hard to talk about. Well, I can come here and talk about it. And I know even if I don't have a lot of people watching, I still look and see 80, 90, 100 people have watched the video. So like Bobby, he'll watch it tonight. So he doesn't have to be here, but it is good. It's live. So Greg and John can ask me questions, or Nick, or anybody, Luke, can ask questions and we can directly respond to it. So you can ask a question, I can answer it, and I can understand your question, you can understand the answer. So I'm beneficial that way. Sort of like a class with the teacher where he answers the question so you can understand it. But the gyms, really, I go for my mind. The gyms, I'm in the pool for about 40 minutes. Sometimes my feet hurt me, my back a little bit, but I'm in it for 40 minutes, and I'm really in it to running for my health, my blood pressure, and my mind. It's very good, the exercise for your mind. So I'll do that, and then I come home, and if I need groceries or I eat lunch, as you see, and then then I'm here. So in effect, I'm meeting friends. We're talking poker, we're talking football, which is what I enjoy. But it's hard to find gold people. Talking football, I can't stand the Lion fans, so I just shake my head at them. But and I like watching the videos. I learn from them, and then I can teach you. But I kind of find if I show you a video, you get a little bit more out of it. Like Greg is looking at the gold bars. Well, it makes an impact versus me telling you about it. I'm basically telling you what they're saying, but the visual, like San Francisco, I thought that was a great thing. I don't know if they realize it, but it's Adam Smith. You're watching people and you realize they need other things, or you got the cell phone to get rid of the landline, and then you didn't need the answering machine. So things evolve, which is what the Keynesians don't get. They think it's a black box, nothing evolves. We say whatever people want, we're going to meet it, but don't make electric cars if nobody wants it, which is what they're doing. Make sure it's what people want, which is Say's Law. And they don't agree with Say's Law, which you just shake your head going, what the fuck are these? Where are they coming up with this shit? That's why we're in the trouble we're in. A lot of investments that are not practical. And then you got the Bitcoin people who are totally missing the boat on gold. At the end of the day, gold wins. At the end of the day, the Bitcoin loses. But try to explain it to the Bitcoin people, because they're looking at it as I'm going to be rich and I can't get rich off of gold. That's what they look at. Oh, I can buy a Bitcoin and it's up to 50,000. Look at me. And yeah, right now, but when it goes to 10,000, you're going to be there. When the dollar goes out, what are you going to value it as? And when gold goes up, then you're going to go, oh shit, I should have bought gold. So that's really the problem, that people don't really get what gold is. And they're all trying to get rich off of Bitcoin because they really don't want to work. They just want to make an investment into Bitcoin. But it's not, money really doesn't go up. Gold is money, but the only reason it's going to go up is because the fiat money we're in, the IOUs, are all worthless because they pulled the gold away from them. So if they're worthless, then everybody runs into gold because that's real money. And then it hits the real value it should be at, which is not $2,000. It's much, much higher. But it's been down by COMEX. They keep pushing the price down because they want you in dollars. That's why. I mean, earlier on they said about control, right? He's saying, why isn't the government in Bitcoin? Because they want to print money, basically, because they're crooks. They can't print Bitcoin, so they'll never want it. What's the point if I can't print it? It's only limited to 21 million. The guys can't divvy it up. So if Warren Buffett and Gates want more money, they can't get it. It's limited. And they'd actually have to pay for it. This way they just print. They just print money. They don't have to pay for that. Just pay, print me $1 billion. Okay, fine. Thank you. And that's what's happening. And that's why gold price is down, to keep you in money, because they are crooks and they can just print money where they can't print gold. However, again, that's the communist Keynesian look. But what's better for the free market is gold, because then you can't get the inflation, which ruins your dollars, because they're not supposed to ruin our dollars. That's a no-no. Anyway, so let's talk a little NFL here. See, now this is a Ponzi scheme. This is a scam. So please avoid this. We're grateful for your ongoing trust in our service. What the fuck is he talking about? This is a privilege to be at your service. I don't know who this is. I've never done. We've successfully processed your transaction. Is now safely in your hands. What are you talking about? So Pablo Banks, by hitting details, is really Michael Bird LCNR00 at gmail.com. So this is a Ponzi scheme or a scam where they're trying to get into my thing. So all I do is hit the delete and it's gone. And so be careful with these scams. When you don't recognize something that's a scam, just get the fuck out. Nobody's giving you $1 million and nobody's doing that. Greg and John, Burrow should be a good bet next year. Well, yeah, he should be if it's healthy, and we'll see what happens. He had a bad year. Bengals was now. Let's read some NFL news. So we start off. So the New England Patriots hiring their coach has hired 25 assistants. Well, what was the point of hiring the coach for? 25 assists? Are you kidding me? What do we need all these assistant coaches for? This tells me this coach doesn't know what he's doing. I don't need 25 coaches. That makes it a committee, which means there's no leadership. So I think New England's going to fail miserably. Yeah, Fields, I just want it to be over. Fields is tired. Fields, you suck. You're going to get traded. It's the right move. I'm not sure I would take Caleb, but you're done. So stop being a baby. By doing this shows me he's a baby. We're never going to hear the Kelsey Reed auto, whatever. The Lions re-signed Michael Badley, the kicker who gives a fuck. Eric Washington. We're going to build the best pass rush in, what is this, Chicago? We're going to build the best pass rush in football. Yeah. Okay, buddy. This is on NBC Sports Chicago. Okay. Good luck with that. I don't know who this guy is. Matt LaFleur, Jeff Hartley's schemes will be easy to adjust to with. This is the Green Bay coach. Chiefs signed Tyree Gillespie from Oakland. Okay. Chargers announced 4 additions to the coaching staff. The defensive coordinator from Michigan is with Harbaugh, although I don't know if it'll work in the NFL. I guess everybody was wrong who said that the logo, which was red and blue for the Super Bowl, meant it was Baltimore against San Francisco. Oops. And then they're doing all these assistant offense. So there's an offensive line coach, the team's assistant offensive line coach. There's a head coach. There's an offensive coordinator. There's assistant to the offensive coordinator. What the fuck's going on? What a joke. I'm not going to. Bengals switched their playing turf to field turf. Why don't they go to grass? This is why Burrow gets hurt. Is why a lot of people get hurt. Is the turf's very hard, and it's not grass, so it doesn't give. That's why you got so many knee injuries. Yeah, here's the Bears OC saying, "I totally believe the scheme works for Justin Fields. Yeah, he's looked really good in it. Oh, sure. I guess we're watching different games." Commanders re-signed somebody I've never heard of. So I guess do the Bears have a new coach, Matt Eberflus? Bears finalized Matt Eberflus coaching staff. No, I never heard of the guy. I think it was their coach last year. I never heard of him. Jared Mayo, the New England coach. Dante Hightower has always really wanted to coach. So we're going to make him a coach at New England. Oh, my God. Really? What kind of crap is that? Just pathetic. Yeah, not much. I hate when they say, who should the Eagles target in free agency? Well, that's not news. That's bullshit. Don't have time for bullshit. That's like a college football. So I know there's going to be 12 in the playoff. There's going to be it's 5 conference champions and 7 at large, which also would include Notre Dame. It was going to be 6 and 6, but the Pac-10 only has 2 teams. I don't know why they're still the Pac-10. They're the Pac-2 now. But then they say, well, you guys can't be conference champs. There's only 2 of you. So now there'll be the 5, the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, and maybe the Mountain West. I don't know. There'll be 5 conference champions and then 7 wild cards. And again, we're going to, do we need Michigan to play Iowa? Okay, Michigan plays Iowa in their Big Ten conference championship, even though Michigan's undefeated with no losses and number 1 in the country, and Iowa is not even ranked. And even if they won, they're not going to go to the playoff because they've got 5 losses. What is the point of that game? I mean, it sounds so stupid. And then you have, why don't you? So, in other words, should that be a playoff game or should it be do you need the game? Well, let's have the regular season. Oh, Michigan, you won. You beat Ohio State. You won the Big Ten. you're in the playoff. What is the point of the Big Ten championship game? Especially since now you have 12, there's 12 teams in a playoff. So it's going to get down to what? They're going to go 12 goes to 8 because there's 4 byes. That's one game. Then 8 goes down to 4, and 4 goes down to 2, and 2 to 1. So 2 teams are going to play 4 extra games. Do you need the conference championship game when you got 4 extra games? The only good part is we know in 12 and the 12 teams they're gonna try. They're not gonna sit out and cry like Florida State did. That was disgraceful. I'd fire that coach if that's how your players play. Bleacher Report, it's good for sporting news. Sounds TK, wow. Bleacher Report is good for sporting news. I don't know. Sounds TK, wow. Not sure what that means, Greg or John. Anyway, so what's the point of that game? Because you're going to have, first of all, now you're adding 4 games to 2 teams, which is going to be a lot. And you're adding 3 games to 4 teams. Okay. Watch these guys get injured. You know, the guy who had to play 4 games is going to be. What the fuck? I saw a flash of light. Is that a gunshot or a firecracker? I don't know. I saw a large yellow light hit here. Well, I hope it's nothing. I hope it's a firecracker. I have to keep my eyes open. Anyway, so there's no point in having the conference championship game. Because, with Alabama and Georgia, you need to get the winner or whoever wins the conference. And then I guess the other one would come in as a wild card probably. But now you've got the problem of merging all these teams into the league. So now you've got USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington in the Big Ten with Michigan and Ohio State. So you've got 6 teams, which you could probably have 3 or 4 go into the playoff. Same thing in the SEC now that Oklahoma and Texas are there. The ACC is going to have a struggle because all they got is Florida State. If they don't get anybody injured, Clemson's gone. Really, they got nobody else. I think Stanford and Cal went there, big deal. They don't understand how it's going to be so screwed up. You're going to have it's like West Virginia in the Big 12. They lose all the road games, and they win all the games at home. And it's going to be UCLA playing Purdue. UCLA plays Minnesota, and you got to go to Nebraska and Michigan or Michigan State. I mean, it's nuts. And what are these teams going to be? 8-8? I mean, where you're going to have 4 conference, 4 little divisions for 16 like the NFL. There's a reason the NFL is 4 teams in the division and then 4 divisions. So you basically have 8 divisions of 4. I think it's stupid. I think you should 32. You can probably have 4 divisions of 8 would be a lot better than what you got. These 4. And then it's funny is you still have the shit teams. That's why if you have in the NFL 4 8-team things, when you get your Jacksonville and Tennessee and Indiana, they're not going to get into the playoffs because they shouldn't unless they're a good team, and all these teams suck. They can't win beating nobodies. But that's what you want it fair, right? Let Philadelphia play Atlanta and New Orleans and Tampa Bay, and let Pittsburgh play, Jacksonville and Tennessee and Houston. not the 4 bad teams play each other. That's just stupid. But this is going to be interesting in college. So you're going to have 5 winners, which I still don't know what the 5th one is. ACC, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, and whom? Conference USA or Mountain West. I guess it would be Mountain West. Oh, but there's Notre Dame, who doesn't want to join anything. And then you're going to have 7 wild cards. So all of a sudden, teams with 2 losses make the playoffs. You blew it last year. You blew it because Georgia, Florida State, and Oregon should have been in the playoffs. It was disgusting that Georgia and Oregon weren't in it. How can you explain that? I mean, that was just ridiculous. Anyway, still curious what that noise was. I hope it wasn't a gunshot or something blowing up. That's all we need. Let me put the safe in the car. Let's get out of here. So anyway, that's what needs. This is the problem with the playoffs. That's why you've got to take the division winners like you do in the NFL, and then the next 3 best teams, and that's what college needs. You got to reward the division winners, and then the next best record. But you got to play. You can't play the high school teams like the SEC does, and then you reward them. You got to take that off their thing. You got to say, this doesn't count. It should just be on points, and you get so many points for the better team, and then by points. So if you played a hard schedule, you're in. If you played an easy schedule, you didn't get any points. Michigan should not have gotten in. They didn't play anybody. They should have got a bunch of 1s, and then here's Washington and Oregon playing all the big teams would have got a lot of points and overtaken them. Michigan's absolutely a joke last year. When you don't know what you got going past after the Ohio State game, you still had no idea how good Michigan was. The whole fucking season, you have no idea because they haven't played anybody how good they are. And the games they play, you have no idea. They're running it down, Northwestern's throat. And they blitz a lot. Yeah, great. I know what the team is. They didn't play a good quarterback. It was like a joke. It's really a nightmare because that's not what you want. You want competition, and you didn't have it. So we'll see. Again, the draft's coming up the end of April. And we're February 26th, but 22nd, but it's only 28 days, 29, I think. And I'm waiting to hear on my meet with Daria. I'm very confused. So we're supposed to meet. I had suggested Turkey because it was something we could both travel to because she can't travel to Europe. I can't travel to Russia. Then it became, well, why don't you come to Russia? Okay, I'll look into a visa. Now she's saying, well, why don't we meet in Turkey? And I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? Are we meeting in Turkey? Are we meeting in Russia? Because I don't need a visa. So I don't know what's going on, and I don't have a date and a time. So really in limbo with all that shit, and I don't like it. I got to be stoic and say, look, you want to meet? Pick a date. But I got to be smart enough to realize she wants to meet, but things are popping up. She can't meet. So it's not like she doesn't want to meet. She does want to meet, but getting the time and then the place. And then, I'd rather you come to St. Pete. And I go, well, that's fine. I'll get it, but I got to get a visa if I can. Now she's like, let's go to Turkey. I'm like, well, okay, fine. When? So I'm waiting for the date then. It's getting frustrated. Is she real? Does she want to meet or not? And that's clearly the problem. So if she meets me, she'd want to meet. But I don't know what her deal is. So basically, all I know is she hates Russian guys. She keeps telling me I hate Russian guys. I go, why? Okay, so that's what's going on there. Otherwise, let's go have some dinner, and we'll relax. So a little bit more YouTube. I'll check on stuff, and that's about it. So again, Bitcoin's not money. It's not accepted. That's why it's not money, and people can't hold it. As you saw, gold you can hold, so you're secure with it, and you're not secure with Bitcoin because you can't hold it. You really don't know how it works, and you're really buying it so it goes up in value. That's really gold you're buying because the dollar's collapsing because they're printing it. And so you think, well, 21 million, what kind of value is going to have in Bitcoin? It depends on the demand. As we say, if I've got 100 people for my 50 count Mahomes, the price is going to go up. If I only got 20 people for my 50 count Mahomes, the price isn't going to go up. Well, I guess Barry Bonds is better because of his steroid use. Even though it's a 100 count card, is there even 100 people that want the card? And therefore the value drops. And again, this was also in a 50 count, the same card, black label, red label, but it was out of 50 and there was even out of 25. So that dilutes the value a little bit too. But it's all based on demand. So does Bitcoin have a demand over 21 million? And if so, does that mean all 21 million are spent and that's why it's 50,000? Where does that value come? If somebody could explain that to me. Is there a COMEX? Is there something keeping Bitcoin up or down? How does the value? Is it based on people buying Bitcoin that raises the value? I don't know. I doubt. The way everything's manipulated, I would find that has to be manipulated. However, I would not run out of dollars. If you're trying to get out of this, I'd be in gold. I would never go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is very highly risked. As Egon said, you could go to 1 million, you could go to zero. And when the dollar goes out, you will go to zero. And can you stand on your own as a currency? No, you're an investment. You're strictly buying it because you think it'll go up in value. You're buying it like a penny stock. That's what you're doing with Bitcoin, but it is not money in any stretch of the imagination. You ain't going to the grocery store and buying groceries with it. People don't accept it. People will accept gold because gold, believe me, you walked around with that gold bar the guy had, everybody would want it. That's why it's locked away in the vaults in Switzerland and here in London. That's why there's something about gold. It's much, much demanded. And we all know it's worth a lot more than they're saying. So she's saying that 400,000 bars are worth $2 billion. Interesting. I'll have to do the math. But you've got to understand, this is always about a medium of exchange. This is about something that you get paid in that you then buy goods. And the savings comes if I think it's going to be worth more tomorrow than today. With the inflation, you don't want to save, which is why they do the inflation, because you feel the dollar is going to be worth less tomorrow than today. So what are you going to do? Spend it all? And then, well, what do I need? Tomorrow I need money. And then you get all these retirement planners. Well, you need 7 things of cash flow to survive. Like, you're going to live off your money now. That's your job. You're not going to work and get a paycheck. Well, when this shit happens, you're not going to have 7 caches of cash flow. You're going to have nothing. You're going to have no streams of cash flow because the cash is gone. The bank's gone. The stocks are gone. Everything's going to collapse. And I know they don't want it to happen, the rich guys, but they don't have a choice. The snowball's going down the hill. You can't stop it. So this is where they're so naive. And then when I showed you that Whitney Webb girl saying how BlackRock this and BlackRock that, and it's like they can't control what they're doing now. If you're in charge of this, you got all the money, why would you fuck it up? Right? That's my theory is if you really knew what you're doing and you've got all this, why wouldn't you let the price of gold go through the roof instead of printing the dollars? And then then I have all the gold and the price is really high. Why would I keep the price down and stay in dollars, which cannot go up in value? It's not an investment. I will give you Bitcoin is an investment. The dollar is not. Gold is an investment. Gold will go beat all of them. But the dollar's not, and it goes down in value. So you're surviving the dollar with gold, not with Bitcoin. Because again, Bitcoin's in dollars and it's an investment, and we don't know how it goes up and down. Show me the Bitcoin exchange, You can't say supply demand. Yeah, well, they say that with gold. It ain't supply demand. Anyway, I think I'm going to have dinner. And that's about it. I had my avocado. So I'm kind of late having a later lunch, but that's okay. I don't need much, but I do want to eat soon. So anyway, that's all that's going on. I'll keep you posted when I'm traveling, but and I hate to keep bothering Daria. When are we meeting? Now are we meeting in St. Peter or Turkey? I think we'll meet in Turkey. Okay. When? Let's fucking, what do you want to meet or you don't want to meet? I mean, this is where you're stoic. Do you want to meet or do you not want to meet? If you want to meet, when? You're not working now. What are we waiting for? Or you don't want to meet and you're just fucking around. But she says, no, I want to meet. I want to be with you. Okay, then we actually have to be together. Hello. All right. Anyway, that's class tonight. www.teaserking.com. Again, understand the medium of exchange and what money is, and that Bitcoin's not money because it's not acceptable. And it's really, you can't hold it. So we don't really know what it is. Even a debit and credit card, you have the card. I don't know what you have with Bitcoin. I know you can't, there's no coin to hold. I think it's in a wallet, but you can have people steal it and close the wallet down, or whatever that Ben Franklin guy did, or the crypto queen from Romania who was selling you fake crypto. So, do you really want to trust something you can't hold? That's like listening to somebody that you don't know if they're telling you the truth, and you listen to them like Peter Schiff, and you get burnt. Okay, everybody, have a good night. Tomorrow's Friday, so I'll watch a little Mark McGuire in the morning and hit you after swim. All right, have a nice night. Enjoy. www.teaserking.com and be well, everybody. Be safe. Buy your gold and buy your silver.